No, I think we've been talking a lot about the everyday players, rightfully. And I'm looking at this team and, like, I'm diving deep on just everything about it, right? Like, hey, we've got 2 months of data now. We kind of have a pretty big sample size. Because the worst cliche in sports, season just started. It's too early to make any sweeping indictments. It's like, no, we can analyze as we go along.
They've been playing since March, guys. Been playing since end of March.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be June this week. Starting pitching. Their whip is 25th. They've given up the second most hits, the 8th most home runs, the 8th most walks. They have the 25th worst opponent batting average. They're batting 15 to 16 points higher than league average. They have the 27th worst ERA and the 25th worst whip. Their starting pitching has not been good.
No.
Just simple. Just, has it been good?
No.
Now, let's dive a little deeper. Roupp has been pretty good. I think he, at times, looked like he could be their all-star, and then he's kind of, he's not fallen down, but he's cooled off a little.
I've been impressed considering I had major question marks heading into the season if last year was kind of a flash in the pan. And he's showing us, and Giants fans this year, it was not. He's
a nice 3.
He's been a really, really fun story the last season for the Giants.
I agree. He's a nice 3. I think he's a long-term answer in the rotation, right?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Which is something you don't scoff at right now.
No. Now, can Trevor McDonald be some version of Landen Roupp for the remainder of the year? He had a rough outing his last outing.
Yeah.
He's really a 2-pitch guy. I think that we've seen some really good stuff from him. I'd like to see more. I want to see him stay in the big leagues and develop with the big league roster. I am much more interested in seeing him stick in the rotation than Tyler Malley or Hauser.
And he's gone up against some really good offenses. So I want to back off on Trevor McDonald a little bit, Joe. These are his last 4 starts.
Give it to me.
Padres, Dodgers, A's, White Sox. It's like a murderer's row of offenses right there.
Murakami, by the way, has a beautiful swing.
He does.
I love that player.
And they just called up their other Japanese player, Nishida, I believe, he just got his first hit yesterday. I have a buddy with his last name Nishida, and is a sick White Sox. I was like, dude, you need to get on this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you need to get on this.
Well, I still like McDonald, and I know that he hasn't looked great in his last couple of starts, but I still think there's something there. Now, Robbie Ray is the big one for me because Robbie is a guy I told you I wanted to re-sign on a multi-year deal, 2 years or something like that. Can they afford to get rid of him in terms of rotational depth? Not really, but isn't he going to net you the most in return because he's a left-handed starting pitcher who, even though he's only a rental, teams would covet?
You kind of, at this point, you gotta cut bait there because you're not going to get him for anything, basically.
Agreed. And I'm frustrated because I would like to keep him, but I also understand we can't.
You're 10 games under. Keeping him does nothing for him. It does nothing for you. If they end up keeping Robbie Ray at this point, that tells me that they're back near 500 and they think they can compete. That's the only way. But even then, Joe, that does feel a little kind of negligent if you're talking yourself into this team doing anything and keeping Robbie Ray, and then he walks for nothing. And he's in his mid-30s, Joe. This is kind of where pitchers start to maybe fall off a little bit.
I know.
So I'm concerned.
How can you not be? I think it's fair. And then, Logan Webb's supposed to come back at some point.
They're saying the Rockies series this weekend, hopefully.
I heard Wednesday is, I think, what they're shooting for.
Oh, Wednesday now.
That would be McDonald's turn of the rotation. That's when he's set to come off. So.
And then what would they do with McDonald? Give him a break or send him down?
You might not like the answer. My guess is they're probably going to send him down.
That is so weak.
We talked to Justice De Los Santos last week, covers the team for the Merc.
So weak.
And they said the same thing. I know. I'm with you, Joe. I'm with you.
Before the game yesterday, I think Justice one who asked if Malley's going to be making his next start, which will be today. And Tony was like, I don't see why he wouldn't. So that's kind of where they're thinking right now.
So, okay. So McDonald's going to go back down. And then Hauser and Malley, come on.
Tyler Malley's the worst pitcher in baseball. I'm just going to say it again.
Sure.
No, he is, statistically. The worst pitcher in baseball.
The highest ERA in baseball.
Yes.
The problem is that look at who they have dominating in AAA in their staff right now. Dominating. That's such a...
Careful.
33-year-old Michael Fulmer. is in their rotation.
I remember him.
Yes.
Still around, huh?
Carson Whisenhunt, who is a young player.
The Wiz.
Carson Seymour. Why Spencer Bivens? They sent him down, and he just hasn't figured it out. He's got a 5 ERA. I liked Spencer Bivens. I don't know why they went with Brubaker, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I thought Bivens was really good last year for this team. I know he was a frustrating guy for a lot of people. Tristan Beck, what are they going to do with him? They're going to yo-yo him back and forth all year? Is that what that's going to be? Like, they just don't have a lot of answers, I guess is what I'm saying in AAA.
I'll give credit for this guy, though. You mentioned him. Brubaker's been pitching a lot better. He gave 3 innings in relief yesterday. Like, he's pitched a lot better. Has he not?
I used to call Brebbia the bucket because, like, the mop bucket. So the mop is now Brubaker.
Brubaker?
But he's been good lately. You got to give him some credit there.
Bring him in mop-up duty at the end of the game when the team is like, yeah, just swing away. Let's go.
I mean, it was still a 4-run lead, but 3 innings, shut him down. Come on. Give him credit where it's due a little bit with Brubaker. We were hard on him early on. He's pitched a lot better. No?
He's so weak. I think
Brubaker?
What do we do? What? Again, he's a mop-up guy.
I'm just saying. Bivens was that guy basically last year, too. Brubaker's doing it lately. Someone has to be the mop-up guy. Someone has to be the innings eater. And lately, he's been doing that. I'm with you on Bivens. Maybe he's just a big league guy because sometimes you just have a player, but when they go to AAA, they're just not going to produce. And when they do it at the big leagues, they do. I never understood that. I don't know where the depth is coming from the starting pitching angle. And we talked about this on the show call yesterday. Yes, I understand the frustration of not getting kind of that everyday big bopper. You want Bryce Eldridge to be the Aaron Judge. You want him to be Nick Kurtz. You want him to be this next, phenom. I get that. But where I'm kind of looking at and where the Giants really made their bread and butter back in the day was guys like Matt Cain, guys like Tim Lincecum, guys like Madison Bumgarner. That's what I'm yearning for. Well, I'm yearning for the days of elite depth at the starting pitching portion.
The one thing that this team doesn't do really well is strike people out.
Oh, McDonald is starting tomorrow, by the way, Joe. Starting tomorrow. Trevor McDonald. So Wednesday, tomorrow. So Logan
Webb
is
locked in.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's looking like Logan Webb, probably the Rockies.
The guy I'm interested to see is the 6'6" guy, Wilkin Ramos. He's got 25 strikeouts in 25 innings. Wouldn't it be nice to have a right-handed power arm in your bullpen, to go with your 7,000 lefties?
Yeah, it sounds great. Bring him up.
Well,
let's go.
That's a name that I'm identifying as someone that I'll be looking at. Blade Tidwell, Carson Seymour, and Carson Whisenhunt. One of them is got to get an opportunity here to start games in the next couple months.
What's going on with Whisenhunt? Wasn't he like a high prospect within the organization?
Doesn't have a third pitch. Doesn't really have a second pitch, but he doesn't really have a third pitch.
That's it?
It's kind of what McDonald has been running up against as well.
So why are we drafting players with no pitches?
Well, it takes time to develop pitching.
It's 25. Come on. I mean, how long has he been with the Giants organization? Whisenhunt? Was it last year only?
Mariano Rivera had one pitch. All right, and he had a Hall of Fame career. So some guys can, develop 7, 8, 9 pitches, but if they're no good, then you're relegated to being a nobody.
We're at the point of the season already where I'm just like, they got some bright spots. There's some good storylines here. Like,
they've got the 8th best bullpen ERA.
That's what we're doing right now. What is it? We're looking for bright spots in a season that feels like it's tanked already. They're 10 games under, and we keep talking ourselves into this team. Hey, they won 2 of 3 against the White Sox, and then they have the stinker they did yesterday.
Don't you think starting pitching is kind of one of the unspoken about issues with this team?
Yes, absolutely. Logan Webb being hurt. Robbie Ray not producing like we thought he was going to. Landen Roupp holding up his end of the bargain, but we knew Hauser and Malley. We knew that was going to be a patchwork operation.
What if I told you
was
this?
That impressive? Real quick on that, Joe, before you jump in. For all the credit we gave Buster for getting, Devers, we liked the Chapman and Adama signings at the time. The pitching, like the starting pitching, the refusal to really break off a piece there. Now, maybe they were in on Corbin Burns. According to reports, they were. They really wanted Corbin Burns, and maybe that was, a blessing in disguise because he ended up tearing his Tommy John surgery, tearing his UCL, whatever, with the Diamondbacks. and we'll see if he ever returns to form there. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise. I just know the elite teams have elite starting pitching. And that's.
I mean, I read off all the stuff to you earlier.
But on top of that, the depth behind it. The Dodgers, the reason they're there at the end of the season is Blake Snell, Tyler Glass now, the Sasaki's, all of it. But when those guys go down, they have the depth behind them. Mm-hmm. Where? AAA. They churn and churn and churn. And if the Dodgers can do it while constantly getting rid of all those guys to get proven commodities, that's where the Giants also need to get better. And they have been improving. Keith Law told us last week, but they're not improving at the rate that I think they need to be improving, is what I'm getting at.
Well, look, they've got so many issues. If you want to say starting pitching is the number one issue, I'd listen to it. Outfield power, outfield batting average, outfield depth.
Yep.
The catching position. Joe, we haven't even discussed this. Since the trade of Patrick Bailey, here's your catching position. Batting 159, slashing 236, 277 with a 513 OPS. You've had 2 home runs, both from one guy in one game, House. They have 10 RBIs, 5 runs, 20 strikeouts. So, I don't know, man. They've got a lot of issues right now.